Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so James Stockman had a question. He asks, would you swim in a 50-meter water-resistant watch? All right, let's talk about that. First of all, let me just say that I love watches. I'm a, quote, watch guy, but I'm not an authority on this. You probably would be better off asking a watchmaker. You're essentially asking Joe Schmo off the street by asking me, but just in this case, Joe Schmo likes watches. That's it. So take what I say with a grain of salt. And there's a lot of information on the internet about water resistance ratings and what they mean in the testing that goes into it. But let's just take into consideration a generic 50 millimeter water resistance rating that's on a watch. Would I swim in it? Well, the short answer is yes. But I would take into account the brand. So if it's a cheapo brand, I probably would be wary of that, because I would assume that they took a watch and they put 50 meters worth of water pressure on it for a short amount of time and thought, okay, that's good enough. We, quote, tested it, and that's good enough. We can justify this rating. So I think in that case, it would be possibly tested in a best case scenario. Whereas I think if it was a brand like Rolex or Omega, Breitling, these high-end brands, JLC, they're going to do the testing in worst case scenario, because we're talking about water pressure. And so if you are, for instance, in 10 meters worth of water, that's one thing. But if you're in 10 meters worth of water and you're shaking your arm vigorously and you're paddling, well, you've got the 10-meter water pressure plus the movement that the pressure that your moving arm is putting on the seals. And so that would be what I would call like a worst case scenario. Heavy movement, the movement of the water and the movement of your wrist and just the overall pressure. And that would be the kind of testing that Rolex would do. So I would say that a company like Rolex, if you got and I don't know, I guess maybe the Cellini line might have ratings like this, but typically if it's even just a modest perpetual is going to have a 100-meter rating. But if you were to find a Rolex and it had 50 meters water resistance on it, I think you'd be absolutely fine going down to 50 meters and paddling your moving like mad. I think would be fine. In fact, I think it would probably be okay to 100 meters. I think a Submariner probably could go further than 300 meters. I think Explorer 2 could go further than 100 meters because I think they test these things. I think companies like this test things and their watches in worst case scenarios instead of best case scenarios. So I would take into account the brand of the watch. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.